Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. Today is February 28th, 2024. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. Yes, today is February 28th. It is Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, February 29th, is the opening day of the real player portion of the Underwear Olympics, as they call it, or the NFL Combine. Very interesting. I can't wait. I can't wait to see some of these guys.
So they've been doing interviews up to this point, right?
Yes, yes.
Nobody's been on the field. I've been watching nothing but the reporters interviewing people, and that was interesting. So what we're going to do today.
Oh, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm just going to go over maybe the top 3 to 5 guys at some particular positions.
Okay.
Guys to look out for, guys that I think are going to be drafted pretty high, almost assuredly first round guys, possibly some second rounders, depending on the position and strength of the position and team needs. So I'm not going to predict exactly where they're going to go yet. I'll save that for next week. But these are guys at each position that you might want to keep an eye on. Let's say if you're a particular fan of a team, and you know your team needs an edge rusher, or your team needs a running back, or your team needs, you know what I mean? These are some of the guys, top guys at each position.
Okay. All right.
Now, I've really highlighted the 2 positions that I thought are the strongest this year. And there's actually 3 pretty strong positions. But the 2 positions that I thought were really strong and will probably have the most known names is quarterback and wide receiver. Let's talk about quarterbacks first, and we're going to come back to this quarterback conversation before we're done here, I'm sure, once we start talking about the draft order, because there are several needy teams out there. Some may be able to fill the position with trades. Some may be able to fill the position with through free agency, but this is a pretty strong class of quarterbacks coming out in this draft. The number 1 guy that almost everybody is touting, obviously, is Caleb Williams. He's out of USC. He's got good size. I know size and speed is a big thing for you, so I'm going to try to quote each guy's size if I have it here readily in front of me. Caleb Williams is 6'1". He's 215. I personally would not consider him a true dual threat quarterback. However, he's got wheels. And I would venture to say, well, don't get me wrong now. If you've been watching television and you've been reading, you've heard his name mentioned in the same sentence with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not ready to go there yet, okay? But he is an elite playmaker. The other thing he has going for him is he's done it in college for the last 3 years. We've seen guys that have had great seasons right before they come out, but that was the only great season they had, or really good season they had before they come out in the draft and they get picked, and then they're a little iffy, okay? He's done it for the last 3 years in college at USC. I did say he's 6'1", 215, so not great height, but serviceable. He is a good runner. He does make off-platform throws. Like I said, he's an elite playmaker. He knows how to move the ball, and those are probably some of his greatest assets. We'll talk about him some more at length later on and up to and through the draft. The next guy was a guy that I kind of was not really paying too much attention to, but you've probably been hearing his name a whole heck of a lot more lately, and I cannot wait to see this guy. That's Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina. This dude has what you love, the prototypical NFL size. He's 6'4", 230. Great arm talent, makes every throw, great velocity on the ball, really good ball placement. Now, good ball placement usually relates to accuracy, but he does take a lot of chances, as a lot of strong arm guys do. And sometimes he puts the ball in harm's way if there's a knock on him. that would be the knock. Now, the one really true dual threat quarterback, that's Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner out of LSU. Again, 6'1", 215, good size, good speed, good arm strength. Like I said, he is a true dual threat quarterback. He's fast and he's super elusive. This guy can really go. He transferred from Arizona State. So this last season, he played at LSU, but the season before that, he was at Arizona State. He was really good there, but he went from good to great, especially if you look at his numbers. Statistically speaking, he improved tremendously, not a little bit, tremendously between his one season at Arizona State and his last season last year at LSU. Hence, he won the Heisman. He had tremendous numbers. So I'm looking for this guy to be a pretty good pro. Michael Penix Jr. is the next guy. He's out of Washington. Early on, he was my favorite. I'm going to say he's not necessarily my favorite right now, but I got to look into him a little bit more. He's got good size, 6'3", 213. He's got a kind of a weird throwing motion, but he can really sling it. He can get the ball out there, short and deep. The knock on him is injuries. He's had quite a few. Two pretty bad ones, 2 knee injuries, I believe, and possibly something else. I have to double check on that. And he's played for a couple different schools too. I think he was at Louisville or Cincinnati or one of those before he transferred to Washington. But he had a really good season last year, played really well. Washington was undefeated for quite a long time, all the way to the Final Four, actually, of the National Championship Series. And because he's played for a couple of different schools, he's been through a couple different programs and a couple different coaches. He's got a lot of experience, and like I said, he can really throw the ball. He can sling it. And the last guy I got here, this is my top 5. I'm going to go with Bo Nix. Now, I didn't make a lot of notes on Bo Nix. He's got decent size. He's 6'2". He's 217. He can run, although I wouldn't necessarily call him a true dual threat quarterback, but he's got good size. He can break tackles, and he's a little more elusive than he seems to look at first. I don't think he's got the greatest arm in the world. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he played in college for like 5 years. So experience is not a problem. He's got plenty of that. He's from Oregon. I don't think they still run that old Chip Kelly stuff up there. But Bo Nix, he's my number 5 guy. I might even be able to find, if I look hard enough, somebody that I like better than Bo Nix. Tell you the truth, he's probably a day 2 pick. But, that's what I think about Bo Nix. So what do you think about that so far?
All right, so Benny, the first thing I want to mention is that you made me a bit of a believer in terms of those quarterbacks who have 3 to 4 years of experience in college.
Yes.
Purdy was what brought it over the top for me. It's his experience that's showing,
Yes.
even though he wasn't taken high, but he had the 4 years. He was competitive at the college level. So I think that is. And then when you look at Trey Lance and how that worked out, I'm sure that didn't help him. Again, I was a bit disappointed. I saw him as a project, not for them to put him in right away because he didn't have all that experience, but he did have the athletic ability. It's interesting to say who's the one guy who's a true two-way?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels from LSU and the Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Yeah.
And I'll go back to my statement. The only objection is with one word, but teams that can make the other team play 11 on 11 have a decided advantage, in my opinion. And so it'll be interesting to see where he goes, as the league seems to want to lean toward that type of quarterback capability.
I mean, it's these coordinators. You still have coordinators who believe in pocket passers, and you still have coordinators who really love or have put together the type of offense that a dual threat guy could thrive in. And then you have guys like Patrick Mahomes. They have great running ability that they don't necessarily have to lean on to move their offense down the field.
Yeah, I see Patrick Mahomes as a guy who uses it situationally, but at a very intelligent level.
Right.
And
I think that's the ultimate weapon. That kind of guy.
If you can make them play 11 on 11 and they're playing 10 on 11, then they're playing the wrong game. And you know what's also interesting, and I'm waiting to see what happens with the Eagles as they bring over Kellen Moore, who I never saw as a coach for a dual threat type quarterback.
No, he coached Dak and he coached what's his face with
Coach Herbert for a hot minute.
Herbert. Right.
And Herbert's not really a dual threat, but he is mobile. You know, he could be a dual threat, I think, if they wanted to make him one.
Well, he's nimble in the pocket.
You know, he's big and strong and can run. I don't think he's much less athletic than Josh Allen.
It's a mindset. Josh Allen has a different mindset.
Josh Allen has Buffalo a mindset. I mean, these guys are out there shoveling snow with no shirts on and running around, you know, just having a great time up in that crazy, crazy weather. So you do have to have a slightly different mindset. But yeah, I think Herbert, you know, he has a lot of the capabilities. But those are the main things that I was thinking about. Those are your top 5 quarterback picks, ones that keep an eye out on. So just quickly give me the quick top 5 summary.
So you got Caleb Williams. He's basically the consensus number 1. I don't know that he will definitely go number 1, but there's a really, really excellent chance that he will. I haven't heard too many people say have a discouraging word about this guy, although I have heard some, which again, when the subject comes up again, we have time to delve into individuals. We'll talk about that. Drake May has really got my antennas up. I got to see this guy because I didn't watch North Carolina a lot over the last college season. But the size and the strength of his arm, and also they've made a point to let people know that with his size, he does have the mindset of a tough runner if, in fact, he needs to run.
And how big is he?
He's 6'4", 230.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How big is Cam? How big was
Cam's like 6'5", 250.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Cam was a weapon. Cam was a weapon. Jaden Daniels probably the scariest when you look at him as far as being a dual threat and having the not necessarily elite arm talent, but very good arm talent. And he's shown the ability to really improve as a passer over the course of 1 year, which could be very inviting to a lot of pro coaches, a lot of pro offensive coordinators with his learning ability that he's already shown. Obviously, the talent at Arizona State and LSU is quite different. LSU has way better talent overall than Arizona State does. But still, it was alarming how his numbers stacked up. I didn't do a comparison chart or anything, but he improved tremendously between those 2 stops. And then you got Penix, and then you got Bo Nix. So,
all right,
that's how they fall there.
All right, fantastic. So that's your top 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What position is up next?
Okay, so the other position, and I didn't delve into a lot of other positions. Maybe next week we'll talk about edge rushers and secondary people, because I think those are the next 2 strongest positions in this draft, especially cornerbacks. And, you know, edge rusher is always an important position for everybody. If you're going to build yourself a good team, you got to be able to protect your quarterback, and you got to be able to get after the other team's quarterback. So yeah, that's obviously a big deal. But the next strongest that I believe is wide receiver. And some of these names, a lot of people may have heard of, and a couple of them you may not have, unless you really are an avid college football watcher. The number one guy, and this guy will probably be the first position player taken besides a quarterback, is Marvin Harrison Jr. Big time wide receiver out of Ohio State, 6'4", 205, nice height, nice speed. I
He's
heard a
6'4"?
comparison. He's 6'4", 205.
But dad ain't 6'4", is he?
No, he's not. He's like 6'2". I heard the comparison I heard is take Marvin Harrison's skills and put him in Calvin Johnson's body. That's I just heard that the other day. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's something else, man. Marvin Harrison Jr., yeah, he's a freak, man. He's without a doubt the class of the wide receiver class coming out this year. No doubt about it. He's a definite first round. After him, got some interesting guys here now. You know, I just talked about the talent at LSU. As far as I'm concerned, LSU is wide receiver university. They might as well change it to WRU. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. We can go on and on and on. So here's another one. Malik Neighbors, 6 feet, 200 pounds, great route running ability, great body control, especially on 50-50 balls where he has to go up in the air. Not necessarily a burner, but I think, again, can't wait to see him at the combine. I'm hoping he gets in the 4.4 range. But this guy is a problem being covered. Really nice route runner, real shifty, gets in and out of his breaks real nice. He's going to be a problem for somebody. He's going to be a problem for a lot of DBs. He will probably go pretty high too. After that, we talked about Michael Penix, the quarterback out of Washington, his favorite receiver. And some people think this guy is just a notch under Marvin Harrison. That's Rome Odunze. And I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I believe it's Odunze or Odunze. He's out of Washington. He's 6'3", 215. Nice speed, nice strength. 6'3", 215. That's good size, man, for a wide receiver. Again, 50-50 balls. This guy can go up and get them. He can knock corners around.
Good wingspan?
I don't have wingspans.
I would ask that question. But...
yeah, I can get that for you though if I need to. His best thing is though, this guy's fast. I'm expecting this guy to do 4.3 plus. Okay, 4.31, 4.32, somewhere in that area. Now, here's a name that a lot of people may not be up on. Other side of Malik Neighbors, and that is Brian Thomas, 6'4", 205. And this guy can fly. His only problem is he's not a great route runner, but he did get better over the course of the season. But he is a deep threat, no doubt about it. This guy can really go. So obviously he opened up a lot of things for Neighbors. He takes the top off the defense, as I hate to say, but he's one of those guys. But along with that, he can really catch. So, and he's got really nice size, 6'4", 205. And last but not least, we have Troy Franklin out of Oregon. He was Bo Nix's favorite target. Again, good size here. Well, good height anyway, 6'3", weighs 187. Now, I'm not going to get down too much on some of these guys that come in, these receivers that come in under 200 pounds, because we've already seen guys like Devontae Smith and some of these other smaller dudes. Well, of course, they're really small. They're in the 170s. So 187 ain't bad. That's good size. This guy's a very, very smooth route runner. Not necessarily a burner, but because he's such a smooth route runner and has such quick feet, gets in and out of his breaks really fast, very deceptive speed, that makes him a really good deep threat. And he did that for Oregon, and he will do that for somebody who drafts him. So that's your top 5 wide receivers. I believe wide receiver is the second strongest position in this draft.
All right, so we have number 1 wide receiver was
Marvin Harrison Jr.,
yeah. Number 2,
Malik Neighbors, Nabers.
3,
Rome Odunze.
Dunze. Yeah.
Odunze. You know what? That's it. It's Odunze.
Dunze. Okay.
Yeah, you said it right. Brian Thomas,
Okay.
another guy out of LSU, and Troy Franklin out of Oregon.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right.
So that's just a little something to look. Yeah, that's just a little something to wet your whistle when you start watching these guys at the combine and trying to figure out who's going to go where when the draft comes. You'll get to take a look at some of these guys and let them show off their skills.
All right, Benny. So who's up next?
I mean, I just wanted to kind of lean on those two. I'll have some more names to throw out there as far as guys from the other positions after I take a look at some of these guys. I want to do the old eye test on them first. There's one running back that I'm really interested in, and that would be Blake Corum, kid out of Michigan. He's short. His size limits his long speed, but outside of that, he's got the total package, man. This guy can run. He can break tackles. He's shifty. He's very quick hitting the hole. He looks so small. I think maybe he's like 5'9", but he weighs 2 something. But
Cowboys got one of those guys, don't they? They're that real little guy.
yeah. Kind of similar to that guy.
Yeah.
But this kid has great vision. Like he can work his way through a secondary once he gets over the first level. He's really tough.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so that wraps it up for this week's list. We had quarterbacks and wide receivers, basically.
Right.
Those 2 groups. So when they go together, we're going to have some fun, Ben, in some of the upcoming shows. I think the Brain Trust show is going to be wild. The backup quarterback is the best job in the NFL show is going to be wild, since 2023 has been already termed the year of the backup quarterback.
If nothing else, 2023 has convinced some GMs out there that might have been holdouts, as I was, as to how, and you are not, as to how important the backup quarterback role is. There's no question in my mind that guys' minds have changed about how important the backup quarterback is. No doubt about it.
It's amazing. It's been amazing. All right, well, let's jump over to our social media page and just do a couple hot topics and some current events. All right, Benny. Wanted to say congratulations on the retirement for Mr. Mike Davis. Mike Davis, and as he's an ex-Ravens running back, but he's also an ex-Niner running back. He was early on a Niner running. I mean, we might have even drafted him, to be quite honest. I'm not quite sure, but
Right.
I like Mike Davis. Mike Davis was a pretty good running back in his time.
Though I did like Mike Davis when he played.
David Blau,
Ugh.
ex-NFL quarterback, joins the Commanders for his first coaching job. So that's the great thing about being a backup quarterback. Your next promotion is to coaching.
Well, I mean, again, you have to have shown somebody something in the front office and in your position meetings when you're watching film and helping to put together game plans. Obviously, this guy's done well. He was a backup with the Commanders, and he's shown a propensity, obviously, to be able to understand protections and things like that are necessary to be a coach and to help a starting quarterback and a backup quarterback in the NFL. So good for him. What position did they give him?
I think he's going to be a quarterbacks coach.
Quarterback coach. Okay, that makes sense.
Now, I have some information that came across, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we do the brain trust, but apparently Dan Quinn has put together somewhat of an interesting coaching staff, starting with Cliff Kingsbury as his OC. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the NFC East now with this team of coordinators and stuff that they're going to have coming out of Washington.
So he's gonna run the defense himself, right, Quinn?
He has a coordinator, Joe Witt Jr.
Joe Witt. Okay, I know that name.
Yeah, Joe Witt.
I can't think right now. Although Dan Quinn has been a defensive coordinator for several teams already, the Cowboys, the Seahawks. So I'm sure he will have a major input on the Commanders' defense. However, let me just throw something in here since you mentioned Mr. Cliff Kingsbury. Last year, Cliff Kingsbury was on the USC staff. I believe he was the quarterback coach for one Caleb Williams. They went out, got Cliff Kingsbury, brought him in. Here's my theory, and we'll talk about this later, or you can laugh at me or whatever. Washington has the number 2 pick. I believe they put a package together to move up to number 1 to get Caleb Williams.
Nope.
Now, I'm just going to throw that out there.
All right. Well, we know who your number 1 pick for the mock draft. Well, it's not. Everybody says Caleb anyway. It's just a matter of who's going to get him. But like you also said, there's going to be a lot of horse trading going on in the next week or so. So that'll be and here we have Robbie Gould, my Niner former kicker, named the new head coach at his suburban high school. So he's going back to get his coaching chops.
Oh, that's nice.
And we'll see what happens if he comes back through the pipeline, back into the NFL. And we always talked about how those special team coaches seem to be the alternate head coach for so many teams. When you start to see
interim
head coach. So congrats to Robbie Gould. Now, Benny, the report cards are out. Let's take a quick look at the report cards.
Nutrition, weight room, strength staff. Oh boy. I remember this from last year, and I remember the Cardinals being really bad. That I remember.
And it is interesting in a different category.
What I can see here, looks like they're still really bad.
Yeah, well, except for their strength staff,
A whoopee.
Well, wait, the Baltimore Ravens, the only F they got was in strength staff. And then you go down, and I saw some other Fs. Who else had an F down here? Somebody had an F. Going past a lot of A's and stuff like that. Well, there you go. The Washington Commanders had an F. But what is that in? That was in training.
It's in treatment of families. First of all, how can you not treat the families of your players well?
But they don't even feed their own players. They made them pay for their own food, remember?
There you have it.
There you go. I don't know what's up with that. Now, the Falcons got a D in strength staff, but they were B's and C's overall. Cardinals. I'm sorry, Ravens. I'm surprised to see C's, and I see a F. Again, we said strengths. the strength staff. I can't even say that 5 times fast. But yeah, Chicago Bears got a D in nutrition. Here it is. The Bengals got an F, treatment of family and nutrition. They got an A in the training staff, though. The Cowboys are pretty much A straight across.
Wait, how do you get an A for your training staff and an F in nutrition? Those things kind of go hand in hand, sort of, kind of.
No. I mean, what they serving in the kitchen is not.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying there's no excuse for that. That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, all of these Fs are ridiculous for the most part. These guys are billionaires. There shouldn't be any Fs in here, as far as I'm concerned.
Where's the Dallas? They got A's across the board. Look at that.
Except for Dallas, yeah, Dallas had A's across the board, except they got
A B in the training room.
That's only a B. You know,
that's because there's some dust on the weights. That's all.
That's probably it. Now, the Lions got 2 D's. They got a D in what is this? Nutrition. And they got a D. Where they at here? In training room. So
I'm surprised.
Huh?
I'm surprised at that. Their head coach used to be a workout warrior from what I heard.
Looks like he still is.
Yeah.
I mean, not bad. The Colts and the Jaguars and the Chiefs all got D's in nutrition.
That's amazing. And this goes to show what these organizations consider important and not important. You know? And what can I say? The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. So does that mean that nutrition is not important? No, it doesn't. But
well, they don't have to worry about nutrition as much because Kelsey and them, they all go to Subway and get their food.
All right. Next.
Next. Okay. Well, look. What do we got here? All right. I did want to mention, Ben, free agency and league year are on the same day. No prospective unrestricted free agent is permitted to execute a contract with a new club until 4 p.m. New York Times on March 13th.
Right.
And that is also the start of the new league year. So they have one of those strange fiscal years that doesn't follow the calendar, it doesn't stop on December 31st. Speaking of strange years, we have an extra day in the month of February. So we got tomorrow's the 29th.
Leap year,
yeah. One of my friends, a good contact of mine, her brother Coles, who passed, she posted about him today. She was saying how much fun they used to have celebrating or not celebrating his birthday on the 29th. But that's pretty much it. As we always say, thanks for following. Please leave comments and suggestions. Our hashtag is football is life. Any last words?
Yeah, what I wanted to ask you was, I forgot what I wanted to ask you. Oh, I know. So I know you were taking a look at the draft order, and I'm wondering how you feel, since this is like a really major subject all over the place, how do you feel about maybe, say, the first 6 to 10 teams drafting, if any of them will do anything a little weird or strange or trying to set something up, like what I said about Washington. I believe that Washington is going to attempt to put together some kind of a package of mainly picks, but possibly throw a player in there too, and try to get Chicago to change from 1 to 2. Where they can still get a really good quarterback and make it so that Washington can get Caleb Williams. I think Chicago's undecided on whether or not they want Caleb Williams. And they're also undecided on whether or not they're going to keep Justin Fields. I think they're still undecided.
Yeah, I think they're still undecided also. I saw an interview with Ryan Poles, and that's, he's like, well, we have to keep our, options open type of whatever. So, he not committal, not committed at all to Fields. And I heard another commentator say that, when you're looking at the success that Chicago had, you can blame a certain amount on Fields, but you got to blame a certain amount on the club. And
you have to blame a lot of it on the club.
Yeah, on the club. So if the club doesn't, and they've made the changes at the coaching staff, and they made some changes. So it's sort of an all new situation there. And so, I personally think that with good coaching, Fields would be a great quarterback.
Right.
I think he can get it done with the right coaching. And if with the wrong
I
coach,
agree.
I don't think Caleb will get it done either.
Unfortunately, the right coaching for him will probably be with another team. Won't be with them. It hasn't been with them, and I don't think it will be with them. If I had to bet money, excuse me?
Even with the new coaching, they have new coaches, right?
They got new offensive coordinator.
Okay.
But changing the system on a guy is not the greatest, especially when he hasn't had the greatest success already anyway. Here's two things that have me pretty much convinced. I don't know whether they like Caleb Williams. They're going to take Caleb. I don't know about that. That still remains to be seen. What I do know is I would bet money that they will not keep Justin Fields. I don't even know why people still talk about them keeping Justin Fields. Two reasons. Number one, they already had the first pick overall in 2 drafts and traded it away. One of them turned into Patrick Mahomes. The other one turned into the possibility of having Stroud. That's crazy. Okay, if they do it again, them fans will burn that stadium to the ground. That's number one. Number two, if you're even considering keeping Justin Fields, then you know that step one is we have to build the team around him. That's going to take time, which means you're going to have more headaches, take more lumps on top of a really big lump that he's coming into his last year of his contract, which means you got to pay him.
But Ben, don't they have like a ton of picks that they could surround him with to upgrade that staff around him?
I don't know that they have a ton of picks.
Yeah, that's what
a ton. To me, a ton of picks means multiple 1s and 2s. If you got a bunch of 5s and 6s and 7s, that I don't count that.
Well, apparently a number of people think they have enough picks to package something. They don't have who has the first pick?
The Bears.
Oh, so they have the first pick.
Yes. That's
okay.
there.
So I think that's what it was. They could take that first pick and trade it for a ton of other picks.
Right.
Surround him. I knew they had there was a method there to surround Fields with. So that's the question. Do they want to do that? Or do they want to use that pick?
Or trade that pick, get a bunch of other picks, and do it with Washington so that you only move from 1 to 2.
Okay, well, that's your theory right there. That makes sense.
Still get the bunch of picks and still trade Fields. Here's why you got to trade Fields. He's in the 4th year of his contract. So that means he's at the end of his rookie deal. They probably, even if they decide to keep him, I doubt they're going to exercise his 5th year option. It means they're going to have to pay him. But if you let him go, if you trade him, that's more picks on top of the picks you got for trading the 1st round pick, and you start over with a top ranked rookie and another fresh 4 years of a rookie contract. So you're saving money, you're adding picks, then you build around him. There's a difference between building around a guy on a rookie deal and building around a guy on a veteran deal, especially a guy on a veteran deal that hasn't really proven that he can get it done. That's the way I look at it.
All right. All right. So duly noted. Duly noted. We'll put that out as a clip on Instagram so everybody will know your prognostication there. Okay. Ben and Barry signing off.
Later, y'all.
Peace out.